All right, today we're going to dive into a pretty powerful idea, something that shapes our world and our own choices in huge ways: the architecture of obedience. And specifically, we're going to unpack this thing called moral outsourcing and figure out what it really means when we hand over our toughest decisions.
So let me ask you something. You ever feel just overwhelmed by the constant stream of hard choices, especially the moral ones? It's this mental weight, right? This exhaustion from constantly trying to figure out the right thing to do.
Now, what if you could just offload all of that? I mean, seriously, imagine your morality was like a subscription service. You sign up and boom, no more agonizing decisions. There's a plan, there are rules, you just follow them. That's the core idea we're digging into. So let's talk about the appeal here, the comfort of command. Because, and this is so important, this isn't usually something that's forced on us. It's often an incredibly alluring offer. It promises relief from that crushing weight of having to judge everything for yourself. Okay, so what is moral outsourcing? Well, at its core, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're transferring your moral responsibility, your ethical judgment from yourself to some external authority. That could be a religion, a company culture, a political movement, you name it. It's kind of like you're hiring a CEO for your conscience. And this right here shows the huge mental shift that happens. When you have personal agency, the big question you're always asking is, what is right? And let's be honest, that's demanding work. But when you outsource your morality, the question changes. It's not what is right anymore. It's what is commanded. And the feeling that comes with that, pure relief. It's a massive psychological trade-off. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Giving up your moral autonomy, you'd think it would feel like a loss, but it almost never does. Instead, it feels like a giant weight has been lifted off your shoulders. All that anxiety of choice just gets replaced by the simple comfort of certainty.
Right, but like any good subscription service, you gotta read the terms and conditions. So what's the actual price of all this certainty? What are you really giving up when you click I agree?
Well, the source material breaks it down into three major transformations. First, that active, difficult process of ethical reasoning, it gets replaced with simple compliance. Just follow the rules. Second, the idea of virtue, of building good character, that gets boiled down to just obedience. And finally, that quiet, personal reflection, that's swapped out for submission to the authority. But here's the catch. This newfound clarity, it's often just an illusion. You see, outsourcing your morals doesn't actually get rid of human judgment. It just hides it behind this kind of sacred wall. Somebody, somewhere, is still interpreting the rules. It's just happening inside a very narrow, pre-approved box. And this is where we get to the fine print, the hidden costs. This is the moment where that really seductive bargain of moral outsourcing can start to become genuinely dangerous. The source flags three critical dangers that tend to pop up. First, a diffusion of responsibility. Second, a suspension of our natural empathy. And third, the erosion of our own moral resistance. Let's take a quick look at each of these. So first up, diffusion of responsibility. You know this one. It's the classic, I was just following orders defense. When an external authority is calling the shots, your own personal accountability just kind of dissolves. You might feel bad about something, sure, but you can still defend it morally because, hey, you were told to do it. And that ties right into the second danger, the suspension of empathy. This quote really gets to the heart of it. A command from an authority you trust can literally switch off your compassion. It's how otherwise good, kind people can end up participating in systems that cause real harm, all while feeling totally righteous about it. So if that's the bargain and those are the dangers, what's the alternative? How do you cancel the subscription and start reclaiming your own moral agency? And we need to be really clear here. Reclaiming your agency isn't about rejecting all tradition or ignoring all guidance. Not at all. It's about taking back the final ownership of your choices. It's about being willing to accept the responsibility and, yeah, the uncertainty that comes with making your own ethical calls. So when you boil it all down, this is the final choice, laid bare. On one side, you've got outsourcing. The pros, certainty and comfort. The con, low autonomy. On the other side, you've got agency. The pros are maturity and autonomy, but the cons, well, you have to live with uncertainty and full accountability. And that is not an easy choice. And that really leaves us with this final, massive question to chew on. In our own lives, in the jobs we have, the groups we're part of, where do we draw that line between taking good guidance and just falling into blind obedience? That's the challenge, and it's one we all have to answer for ourselves.